Approximately 20 years is the typical amount of time that a couple stays married in the United States. Ripa and Mark Consuelos, who are the hosts of Good Morning America, have been married for almost 30 years. Their marriage is frequently the subject of jokes between them. It is possible that she is not joking this time around. Continue reading this page to learn his response to her request for a divorce that she made on the air. They are getting ready for Halloween. Ripa and Mark Consuelos. An additional Daytime Emmy was awarded to Ripa and Mark Consuelos for their work on the chat program that was broadcast on ABC. As the winner of the award for Outstanding Daytime Talk Show, LIV was triumphant. Despite the fact that Kelly and Mark were nominated for Outstanding Daytime Talk Series host once again after winning the award the previous year, Drew Barrymore was the recipient of the award for the very first time. Ripa recently revealed that she had a great deal of contempt for a certain Halloween custom. However, this will not prevent her from dressing up in a variety of costumes for the variety program that airs during the day. During the course of this year, Lied with Kelly and Mark hinted on social media that they have something significant in store for their audience. Host of a live show requests divorce from husband live on the air, celebrating their 29th wedding anniversary. Ripa and Mark Consuelos celebrated their marriage this year. 1996 was the year that they eloped after dating for a little over a year. Recently, Mark Consuelos disclosed the surprising events that led to their breakup, which occurred just prior to their wedding in Las Vegas, Nevada. The fact that Kelly did not return his phone calls during the time that they were dating was a source of frustration for him, he explained. It was the reason for their breakup, which he now describes as an immature decision. Nevertheless, they were compelled to work together in order to promote the soap opera All My Children, which they were both starring in at the time. It just so happened that the advertising work was on Live, which was hosted at the time by Regis Philbin and Kathy Lee Gifford. The couple finally reconciled, and he made the proposal, despite the fact that his future bride had made efforts to avoid him. She originally declined his proposal, which was made on the fly of the moment. The following day, when he had successfully persuaded her that he was serious about his intentions, they went on an impromptu trip to Las Vegas. On the other hand, being together for over 30 years is a significant amount of time, particularly if you also work together. In a recent interview, Ripa expressed her desire to spend some time apart from her husband. Currently, she believes that divorce is the solution. It was on the episode of Lighty that aired on Wednesday, October 22, that she brought up the subject. But Ripa is not interested in getting a divorce legally. She is seeking a divorce at the airport. She had read about the new trend in which couples would separate after arriving at the airport, go their own ways, and then meet up again at the gate on their way out. An airport divorce is something that I believe we could do well with, she said. As a result of the fact that you and I have different approaches to traveling and various ways of traveling, she explained. In a humorous moment, Ripa said that her husband prefers to arrive at the airport 4 to 16 hours before the departure of the flight. Mark Consuelos defended himself by stating that he would rather come 90 minutes earlier than expected. The fact that he became irrationally angry with Kelly at the airport is another problem that she is dealing with. The conversation between the two proceeded until Mark made a joke about how he was just watching married people argue on television. It's amusing. However, Ripa was not finished. As the show was coming to a close, she threatened to resume the debate. I'm going down, she informed her husband. You're going down. The morning broadcast of the Live with Kelly and Mark was supposed to be like any other cheerful episode. Light banter, celebrity gossip, weekend anecdotes, and the easy on-screen chemistry that fans have adored for decades. But what unfolded instead was a moment so shocking, so emotionally charged, that the entire studio seemed to freeze in time. Ripa and Mark Consuelos, television's real-life power couple, drifted into a storm no viewer ever expected to witness live as it happened. A morning that started like any other, until it didn't. Kelly arrived on set with her usual polished energy. Mark, stylish and steady beside her, greeted the audience with the relaxed confidence that had made him a fan favorite. The pair had been married for nearly 3 decades, celebrated for their bond, their playful dynamic, and their ability to turn everyday chaos into humor. But beneath Kelly's smile that morning was a weight viewers couldn't yet identify. Something in her demeanor felt less like performance and more like the kind of stern calm someone wears before making a life-changing decision. Mark looked unaware, offering the audience a moment from their weekend, but Kelly's mind was miles away. Even the crew backstage sensed something swirling in the air, a tone slightly off, a tension that didn't belong on a morning talk show. The shift in atmosphere as the cameras rolled, Kelly began moving through the usual rhythm of the show, but her cues were sharper, her transitions faster. She wasn't settling into her chair the way she usually did, she was bracing herself. And when Mark spoke, she wasn't meeting his eyes. Instead, she stared at the desk, her fingers intertwined tightly as if anchoring her emotions in place. What viewers didn't know, what no one knew, was that Kelly had been carrying the weight of weeks of internal struggle. Rumblings of distance, of tension between her and Mark, had been circulating quietly among insiders. Long hours, shifting priorities, emotional disconnects. The kind that creep in slowly, unnoticed until they suddenly dominate everything. Kelly had reached a breaking point, and it was going to break Liv. The moment everything changed, it happened near the midpoint of the show. One moment, they were moving through a routine segment about a trending Hollywood story. The next, Kelly's tone shifted, darker, more resolute. Mark turned toward her with subtle confusion, and that was when she looked at him fully for the first time that morning. The audience could sense something unnatural happening, but no one could have predicted the intensity of what was about to unfold. Kelly didn't raise her voice. She didn't create theatrics. Instead, she delivered the kind of calm, calculated emotional reveal that only comes after someone has been cycling through hurt for far too long. She placed her cards on the table, figuratively and emotionally, and made it clear that something fundamental between them had reached its limit. Mark's expression shifted from playful to stunned in an instant. He was blindsided, not just by the timing, but by the raw vulnerability of her declaration. The studio audience, normally a bubbled space of laughter and applause, fell into an eerie silence. Even the operators behind the cameras stood motionless, unsure if they were witnessing a genuine unraveling or a segment no one had been briefed on. The emotional unraveling on live television, the air thickened with tension as Kelly continued expressing what she had kept buried. She spoke of feeling unheard, of growing emotional distance, of the burden of maintaining a public image while privately feeling disconnected. The challenges of mixing marriage with daily live television had reached a point where she no longer differentiated between the on-screen dynamic and the real-life fractures forming quietly between them. Mark's reaction was a mix of disbelief, pain, and helplessness. He had always been the anchor, steady, affectionate, protective, and he struggled visibly to reconcile this live confrontation with the partner he believed he knew better than anyone. The producers faced a moment of crisis. Cut to commercial or allow the moment to unfold naturally. But Kelly had already stepped beyond the reach of scripts or time slots. She had chosen this moment deliberately, not out of cruelty, but out of desperation. There was no shouting, no anger, just the haunting heaviness of a couple confronting years of buried emotions in front of millions. The audience reacts in real time. Social media exploded within seconds. Clips were posted before the segment even finished airing. Viewers begged the network to cut the feed, while others insisted they were witnessing an honest, painful moment that shouldn't be silenced. Fans of Kelly and Mark, those who saw them as the ultimate symbol of lasting love, were left shaken. Many refused to believe what they were seeing. Others expressed heartbreak, sending messages of support, empathy, and confusion. By the time the show cut to an unscheduled commercial break, millions were already scrambling for updates online. After the cameras stopped rolling inside the studio, Kelly and Mark stayed in their seats, neither moving nor speaking. Crew members carefully approached, unsure how to intervene. Mark's expression was devastated, but Kelly's resolve held firm. She had crossed a threshold she couldn't, and wouldn't, step back over. Sources close to the production have suggested that what viewers saw wasn't a spontaneous meltdown, but rather the climax of months of internal turmoil, attempts at communication, and emotional fatigue. Kelly reportedly felt that continuing to pretend on camera had become unbearable, that the show, which once symbolized their unity, had become a stage masking their growing disconnect. What happens next? Though viewers may never know the full truth of what led to this on-air moment, its impact is undeniable. Kelly and Mark's brand, rooted in love, partnership, and relatability, has been permanently redefined. Whether this public rupture becomes the beginning of healing or the start of a permanent separation remains unclear. But what is certain is that the moment exposed the vulnerability hidden within even the strongest public relationships. Kelly's on-air revelation wasn't just a headline. It was a raw reminder that even the seemingly perfect couples wrestle with invisible battles. Viewers watched a marriage reach a breaking point not behind closed doors, but under studio lights, surrounded by cameras, and broadcast live to the world. A moment that will be remembered forever. The shockwave from that morning will linger long beyond the episode. Fans will rewatch the clip, searching for clues, for signs they missed, for hidden emotions that now suddenly make sense. Analysts will dissect body language, bloggers will speculate, insiders will whisper. But at the heart of it lies something undeniably human, a couple trying to navigate the painful convergence of personal turmoil and public life. Kelly's decision to take such a dramatic step on air will remain one of the most unforgettable moments in daytime television history. And whether it marks the end or a turning point, it has already rewritten everything viewers thought they knew about Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, and the fragile complexity of love lived in the spotlight.